It's made of cilantro and jalapeno peppers and olive oil and cumin.
What are the
And lemon
proportions?
juice?
The proportions are.
I don't know.
Whatever you choose.
I just put a lot of stuff in a blender and I blend it up.
You could put the sass on anything and it would.
It is really good, right?
Yeah.
Now, there were some very substantive conversations at the meal
And before it.
and before it. Yeah.
What was the most substantive?
Smurfs?
I think
We can skip the Smurfs.
I think that it had to do with
Greek philosophers?
the true self.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Is there a true self?
Well, truth and reality. I think we started with truth and reality.
Well, that was you and I earlier.
That wasn't the most substantive. Sorry.
That was the third most substantive. So,
I think the
hold your
cake was the most
horses, please.
substantive. We should have put the sauce on the cake.
Well,
Why
that
did we do
was-
that? Can we do that when we go back?
There's plenty of cake.
And sauce.
There's a small amount of sauce.
we ate most of the
So
sauce.
was
Should
more
we go
popular than the
around
cake.
and everybody say where they're at as far as the truth of the self, the true self goes? Did we all chime in?
No, but I have something to say about that. It's funny you should bring that up.
Jump in.
I was going to say it to you on the walk, but I didn't get a chance to. This will support something that Liz said earlier, okay? Liz is skeptical. There is such a thing as a true self, all right?
You did
That's true.
answer that.
Now, this ties into the whole idea that we need other people to complete us, like my friend who's the sharp dresser. He needs other people to see him to be complete. Okay. But you can extend that even farther, okay? Like I've been reading Samuel Beckett's book, The Unnameable. At the same time, I'm watching a documentary on him. And you can see things that are written in the novel are really episodes from his life involving him with other people. So you could say that Samuel Beckett isn't really one person. He's a collection of all of these experiences and all these people that he's known. So, I mean, who's the true self right there? You see, it's like a collection. And thank you. And
That's not what I expected from that symbol.
Isn't Godot the true self?
I don't know.
I don't know.
But I'm sure that it's the same thing. I think it's his life experiences with other people, and he's reflecting on it. Does anybody else have anything to say
I'm
about the
just
true
confused
self?
about that example
the
because
battery
you're
just-
saying that there's multiple versions of himself based on the fact that he wrote a certain type of story that corresponded with his experiences. I don't understand how you're getting from that the idea that he has many
That
versions of
his
himself.
self is both inside of him and outside of him at the same time.
Oh, I see.
But they correlate to each other?
They're one and the same.
In your conception, they're the same or they're not the same?
That his self is a collection of other people relating to him, life experiences, his reaction to that.
But the internal version of that and the external version of that in your conception are the same? They reflect each other?
I know what I'm saying is that this blurs the internal self.
I see.
What if he were to write something that had nothing to do with his like day-to-day experience?
I don't know if that's possible.
Okay.
Can you think of a writer that has written something that had nothing to do with their life experiences?
Or little, or like less, maybe easy to say, like, oh, like there's this one-to-one relationship between this character in the book and the author.
Who are the literature meet people here?
I mean, sometimes. Beckett's not like one of my specialties, but
Maybe we can think of some science fiction authors that are writing.
Ursula
from
K. Le
outside.
Guin.
who?
Ursula Le Guin.
Oh,
I'm a Le Guinian.
you're a Le Guinian.
Yeah. In opposition to Ayn Randians. A
Oh.
Le Guinian.
Okay.
I would like to see Le Guinian politicians running for office.
What would their
Are
platform
there-
be?
Well, they probably wouldn't run because they're probably anarchists. What do you think, Liz?
I think that Le Guin probably doesn't qualify for this not having personal experience.
But she wrote a book about people living on another planet.
I know, but it is from her experience. There's certainly her experience as a woman.
No,
is
I actually think that
extent.
her science fiction is very informed by experience.
Mm-hmm.
But it's utopian. Oh, 4 fingers.
Yeah.
It's utopian in a pragmatic way. I mean, like Left Hand of Darkness even challenges the epitome of her ideas. She's actually challenging the fact that her ideas might not be perfect. I don't know. I think that's pretty great. Someone advocates for an idea that is better than what we have, but still sees that it's not perfect.
Mm-hmm.
That's rare, I think. When we're talking about personal truths and stuff like that, like that you can see that there's a problem with your idea, but it still might be a better idea. Not all these buttons work, by the way.
But what was it Byron was saying earlier, that like if you can't prove something, that it basically doesn't exist? Or there,
What?
You might as, well, we
So
were
if a
talking-
tree falls-
So Julia earlier was asking why plastics and polymers act as
Estrogen.
as estrogens in the body.
Like if it was
And
because plastics are derived from petroleum, which is derived from organic
biological
Dinosaurs.
beings
matter
that had
Dinosaurs.
estrogen or that did,
in plants, primordial plants,
Mhm.
but so basically Julia was asking if like estrogens or other hormone like substances are just unassailable, like they've always been around
Yeah.
since the origin of biological matter, and that they just keep changing shape, and the reason that plastics are acting in this way on the body is because they're derived from hormone producing living flesh that's
Right.
that existed long ago. But and
So when the
and Byron,
Smurfs melt, they
Byron-
become estrogen?
but Byron was saying like maybe that could be true. Who knows? But there's
It'll
no
never be
there's
proven.
no way to
so
prove
therefore,
it.
it's not worth talking
So
about.
it's basically impossible to even
Yeah.
have a conversation about,
Well,
because there's no way to even construct an argument around
That's
it.
a
That
troublesome...
sounds like some lazy ass shit to me.
That's a very troubling point of view.
But try to think of a way that you could construct an experiment that would prove that this is the origin of something that acts as
Well,
hormone.
one, you don't have to. Two,
Well, you don't have to, but if you wanted to prove something, you would have to. That's what an experiment does.
no, an experiment also proves what you don't know.
That's true.
Sure, but if you wanted to prove it one way or the other, you would
When
have
you
to.
frame anything within an experiment, you're already limited in terms of knowledge or ideas or anything. You've already narrowed down like everything to even frame, even if it's oppositional. So you already have a problem when you study something.
you already have a problem if you're constructing an argument, period. So try to construct the argument.
Well, that's what I'm
Let's
saying.
ask a scientist.
But that's what I'm saying is that.
It's not, he says.
But that's what I'm saying is that
we
that's
have
why
the
it's a very
silent
troubling.
scientist.
Yes, we do.
Yeah,
In our
scientists,
presence.
tell us how we.
But in terms of that
Tell us how we
argument,
could construct
the
the
argument
argument.
is flawed to begin with because. to
I'm
even
just curious, like, have these things been around? Are they caused by like recent
Are they
developments
caused by
in human?
biology, or is it just chance that there is?
Well, let's flip. I'd say
Right,
that-
like why are plastics like very closely reproducing hormones that we make? Why
In our
is
bodies.
that?
Yes,
like that's
exactly.
Because we
weird.
made
Which is a great-
plastic.
And he
Which
said
is a
it's
great
chance.
question.
He's like it's just chance.
It's not chance. It's a whole fucking universe. These are like, look, I would flip it. I would say, let's just take the human-centric opinion about the whole world.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the assumption is like the world starts and it evolves and you got to prove to dinosaurs, blah, blah, blah. No, like, if it's affecting our lives, I would say go the other way. Where are we now and what has led up to us? Like, flip the...
Right. I just
Well, explain a little further. I don't understand what you're saying.
What I'm saying is that the argument that he's suggesting is like some omnipotent, like total universe, all
Procedural
time, kind of
poetics.
all history of the world, blah 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 blah. Like obviously we don't fully understand that as much as we have our ideas about it, whether there's like origin stories or they're scientific research. And this is going to what we were saying earlier about truth and perception or truth and self, that we have limited ability to perceive of the universe or the world or even day-to-day experience. So to suggest that we're even capable of actually knowing some kind of reality outside of what we can even perceive is strange and impossible. And so that's where the statistical and the anecdotal. We don't live statistics, we live lives. We have stories. And we can inform each or the other. But, I mean, in terms of, like, I'm still, I mean, it goes to the point, like, why is plastic mimicking estrogen? Well, if it was mimicking something else that didn't have a very real, influence or impact on our human experience,
Well, mimicking is a bad word.
Matter.
Yeah,
it's
it's more complicated.
because mimicking.
It's not a true estrogen, though, right?
Well, but mimicking means specifically to act like. It means to mirror. So you can't say that, like, xenoestrogens are mimicking estrogens, because the whole thing is that, like, the xenoestrogens, which are in plastics,
but we wouldn't be
pre-existed
talking
human
about
beings and
Right,
human
but it's like
hormones.
your body
But that's
has
not
all
what we're
these
talking
cells.
about. We're talking
and
about
they
its
have-
impact on fertility. We're talking about its impact
Right.
on human health. So it's a human health concern, which means that if these plastics were doing something else that didn't have a... It's a very powerful... I mean, even on our culture, estrogen and, is a hormone that we know of. There's like, what, 1,000 more, 2,000 more, 10,000 more? It's an important issue because it has real impact on our life beyond pollution as we think about it as an external thing. It's a pollution that's affecting our bodies.
So does all pollution, just
Yes.
to clarify.
No, yeah, but I mean, it's like it's not hurting the trees. It's it's not like it's like our bodies. It's our reproduction. So it's very essential to.
All pollution does that too. Just to clarify,
Yes.
whether it's a
But it does it
PCB or
But it does it differently.
might make you unable to produce viable sperm or whatever else.
could
But
be a good
it
thing.
all
What's pollution?
pollution is something that's occurring outside of a natural processes that has a negative impact on the organisms that interact with it.
So
Good definition.
invasive species is not pollution.
Invasive species is evolution in a certain way, but it's also problematic evolution for the native species. That's why they're referred to as invasive. No one calls a dandelion an invasive species, even though a dandelion, like, basically it represents colonialism. Came over with the fucking Puritans.
it
Because
represents.
they used it as a source of food.
It's a great source
But,
of food. Why did we
like,
stop eating it?
We don't. I mean, if you're Italian, you still eat dandelion in your salad, and
But
a lot of people
grass,
do.
But grass is a hell of invasive when you.
Well, some
plant it
grasses
everywhere.
are, and some grasses are native to this area. I mean, like, invasive species are problematic. What I would think about it more so is like, does this species grow as a monoculture, like grow alone and block out other species without providing habitat and food for the species that live in an area? That's when a species is problematic, an invasive species.
But what's a natural process?
That sounds like our president.
Yeah, he is problematic.
He's like
He's
a
an invasive
monoculture.
species. He's a monoculture. We need to remove him, or the animals are not going to get enough food and
For
shelter. For health, yeah. I think we should definitely go cut that thing down before it goes to seed. I mean, it's already gone to seed, but before it goes to seed again, there's barren 3
what
or
about
4.
rocks?
Rocks are not
silent
alive by.
I mean,
rocks, Neil. Come on, don't be
you gotta
shy
talk
about
to us
rocks.
about rocks.
What's a question about rocks?
Yeah, that's a good question
What
about
about
questions.
Well, we're talking about invasive species. It's like rocks. Like maybe there's like this beautiful thing that doesn't fuck anything else up.
I mean,
Except for
rocks
lava.
can fuck some shit up. Or like in
Continental
a flash
drift.
flow, a giant boulder washing
It's not
down.
the boulder's fault. It's the water's fault.
Or it's deforestation.
But the question though is that in terms of geology though, as a practice, as a area of study, it is different from these other fields, like talking about ecology or whatever. But it is part of ecology.
Yeah, none of them are separated. That's science's problem right now. They're not in bubbles. They're all interconnected, and
You
some
think
of
the
them.
problem is interconnection? I thought it was silization of knowledge that was the problem.
Well, I don't see how those two things are different, really.
That's what she just said.
Yeah.
Okay, then we agree. Sorry.
He's so used to arguing that he's just like, let's go for it. Wait, oh, we're agreeing? Shit, I don't know what to
sorry.
do with
I'm
this
sorry.
situation.
But I was asking about rocks.
That's true.
What about rocks?
What are
Tell
rocks?
us about rocks.
Let's pretend like we're, like 5-year-old kids, and we're like, what is this? Rock.
What
What's
is a rock? How do you define what is and is not a rock?
Not like
That's
rock.
Good. That's good.
Yeah.
It's just usually, I don't know, some kind of compacted inorganic material, or sometimes organic, partially organic.
Is a diamond a rock?
Diamond's a mineral.
What's the difference between a mineral and a rock?
A mineral has like a specific chemical composition, so you can define any mineral by the chemistry of that mineral. Sometimes they'll have like basic substitutions, like a feldspar can be like a K-spar, which is like potassium feldspar, or like calcium feldspar or something like that.
And feldspar is in rocks.
Yeah, feldspar is like a part of rock, so like granite has feldspar.
But is
that the
obsidian a
glimmery
rock
thing?
or a mineral?
I think feldspar is usually more of like it's not so glimmery.
It's used in ceramics.
Is quartz a mineral or a rock?
Quartz is
Mineral.
Mineral or rock.
So a rock is made up of.
That's a new game.
A rock is made up of other minerals, but like a synthesis of minerals,
Yeah.
or like layers of minerals.
Yeah, like sedimentary
rocks
Like
are there?
iron, like a rock could have iron in
Not
it.
like quantity, but type
types.
that we understand. That we know
Igneous,
of as
sedimentary,
Yeah,
metamorphic.
they're basically on a sort of continuum. So like rocks, sometimes they'll be defined by like these kind of like various diagrams, but like often you'll see like a little like tertiary diagram, so with 3 points of like how much of this component they have versus this component versus this component. I mean, they're usually more defined by process than what they're made of. So like
How they're made.
Yeah.
So some rocks are made of minerals, but no minerals are made of rocks.
Hey,
There's a rock in the room. Thank
this is
sedimentary.
yeah. What is this rock? It's always the- I mean,
Yeah,
It's a
can
crack rock,
can you
if I'm not
identify
mistaken.
rocks?
Okay, so we need
Sometimes.
Neil's analysis in your story about what that rock is.
Oh, you mean why there's
Where'd
a rock
you meet?
here?
Yeah.
Where is it from?
It comes from Schopenhauer.
Schopenhauer.
That very sensitive man.
Yeah.
All these noises grating in my brain.
Schopenhauer speculated that there's a thing, like when I look at you, for example, I see another human being, but there's a subjective side to you that I cannot know. Only you can know
You
your
mean I'm a rock?
subjective side, right? He extended that and he said, what if other things besides people had a subjective side?
Mm-hmm.
In other
I think they
words,
all do.
that rock could have a subjective side to it, but we can't get to it.
So this is like your take on the Philosopher's Stone?
Well, a lot of
You
cultures.
have it, but you can't figure it out?
Well, then a lot of cultures think their ancestors are in the rock, the spirit of their ancestor.
Well, to invoke John Fink, our dear friend John Fink, I was telling you when we at the screening, the outdoor screening, whatever the thing,
Which one?
the one with the films over on Franklin Street for the International Film Festival.
Oh, the art
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah,
the
the one
art,
where you're
the
videoing
silent
it.
signals.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I was saying that, bless his heart, John Fink, like really upset me in one class with Tony when I was showed this like 3-minute video, and there was
He
no.
drove me nuts.
There
He
was
drove
no.
me like a fungus, though.
Yeah. Well, it's a testament to Buffalo, like where you learn to like people you might not have elsewhere.
It sounds sad somehow, but
No,
okay.
no, but
No, I think that's a really good thing.
no, it is really good. Like it's
It's like a small southern town where you're like, well,
we're the New Orleans of the North,
Yeah.
but that's a whole other conversation. But so I showed this video in class, and there's no explicit narrative, and he's like, "There's no narrative, and you didn't fall in love, and like you didn't da 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 da." I'm like, John, it's a fucking 3-minute video I did on my phone that is not interested in narrative. I don't like narrative film. I'm not interested in making it. What the fuck? And then the only way I could really handle it was to just be like, okay, John, all right, fine, everything's a narrative. And then it was great because I was like, fuck, everything's a narrative. The Grand Canyon's a narrative, like the Earth is a
Sure.
narrative, like rocks are narrative. Like
What do you think?
I was telling you that, it's just, and John's right over here like, and I'm like, that guy, like he, I had a bet with him. He didn't even know it, and I decided that everything's a narrative, and it really changed my life.
I mean, that's kind of how humans make sense of the world. You hit the wrong button, I think, but
Look,
yeah, that was.
oh, that rang. I was pressing other buttons. They see, like, wasn't doing anything. I couldn't get the
I
music
still
to play.
can't figure out where the fart
Could not get the
button
music
is.
to play.
It's the one that's a cloud.
No, I'm pushing them. They're not
I
doing
hit the
anything.
cloud when it made like a
You're overloading it.
yeah.
No, you know what it is?
You're not hitting the buttons properly.
We were talking about the whole sentience after death.
Oh, you have a different one.
Yeah, it's different, but it is a cloud.
Well, that one's plugged in.
No, this is. I'm doing
I
that.
on the
have a
battery.
rock question.
Okay.
Have you ever studied meteorites that come from elsewhere outside of our?
And what are your thoughts on aliens, man?
I'm just curious if they have different materials than
Like
I'm
hormones.
familiar
Do
with.
they have xenohormones in them?
That's what I'm trying to find out, Liz.
Oh, I
From
mean,
space?
Are they gendered meteorites?
like have they ever found
Like a mineral or a substance that doesn't occur on Earth. Not yet.
No, they're usually, I think mostly nickel.
Oh.
We're in the Nickel City. What do you think the pattern is?
Do you think we have a more intimate relationship with outer space living in Buffalo than anywhere else?
I think
do.
that there's some truth to that.
Yeah.
I think we can all agree on that one.
We're gonna get along with the aliens
Yeah,
way
we'll
better.
be like,
than
hey,
people in
bro,
other cities.
yeah, no.
Okay, hey, you brought up aliens. I think it's insane.
Oh, no.
I think that it's totally ridiculous to not think that aliens exist. If we have,
It's really
if we live
arrogant.
in an infinitely expanding universe, that we all, that's culturally accepted as being reality, infinite expanding universe. Well, first of all, arrogant to think that it would be something we would,
We would be the most intelligent life
or
forms
no, that
in
we
the
would recognize
universe.
it.
Like,
Like there's, you could say octopuses are alien. There's some.
no, because
proof
they're
to that.
terrestrial beings that live in our oceans. But
No,
go
their
on.
DNA is not doesn't match anything else. It's actually a thing. Actually, I'm glad you think it's funny. But anyway, the point being is that we would expect intelligent life to resemble us is arrogant and stupid.
And
then
pedestrian.
to think that it's not even possible anyway is a contradiction in terms of what we do believe in. So, I mean, of course there's aliens, but then the concept is sort of like, I don't know, is it, I mean, the idea of alien is so fucked up.
It's
like-
not fucked up. I mean, it's common sense.
I mean, common sense, like racist, common sense, like...
Racism is not
Colonialist.
common sense. It's learned hatred, but
Wait, but you're saying that it's a weird idea because the idea
It's
of
the
that it's
ultimate
called-
other. The alien
Yeah.
is the ultimate other.
it's not though. I mean, we're all stardust, right? Aren't we all part of the universe? So other like intelligent creatures in the universe it's not a ludicrous idea. Like we barely know what's in our solar system, let alone others.
We don't even know what's on our Earth.
Yeah, we don't know what's in the ocean. You want to talk about octopi and other creatures that live in the sea? Like, we don't even have an accurate map of what the floor of the ocean looks like. We don't know how deep it goes or where it goes.
Isn't that
or,
bizarre?
Yeah,
Why?
because it's really hard to search the ocean for shit.
We send
It
we send
requires
shit
a lot
into
of
space
resources.
for like 30 years.
Yeah,
shit
but
going to space.
So there's a lot
Space-
less pressure in space than there is underwater.
Yeah,
There's
there
a
is
lot of
less pressure actually, and it's also
yeah,
like
but you've got like theme songs for like we're doing research in the ocean.
it's exciting when we go to space. It's not necessarily about exploration so much as it is about selling an
Technology?
ideology. No, about selling an ideology or selling technology. But like it's more like, oh, space. Like we're like going out there.
So who was going to go to Mars if they could?
I wouldn't because that's
I
a
would go.
boring fucking planet. But send me somewhere with cool animals and shit like that. I'm down.
Never.
Can I say something about aliens?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Prior to the movie, Close Encounters of the Third Kind?
Yeah.
Everybody who
okay.
claimed they were abducted by aliens were abducted by little green people.
And it
After
shifted.
the movie Close Encounters, they were tall, slender, and had almond eyes. How did that happen exactly?
It's
That
culture.
the aliens changed?
Culture.
I mean, could it be that the aliens are just a fictionalized representation in our mind?
Yeah. That's important. That's important culturally.
And this happened also regarding the devil. Prior to the
Yeah, there wasn't a
Renaissance, the
devil.
devil was represented one way. After the paintings of the Renaissance came out, the devil was represented a second way.
But
Now,
Richard,
did the devil change, or did this fictionalized version in our minds change?
well, we exist in story and anecdote, like I was saying about statistics and anecdotes. So yeah, but it doesn't mean the devil isn't real or is real. if the way it's depicted from culture to culture or from time period to time period, there's clearly like an issue where the culture has to suggest this force, which I think we could say it embodies like real things within people or within human practice. God, devil, angels, whatever, aliens, ancestry worship. And if you shift it from culture to culture, I mean, you can still probably, I mean, I don't know enough to like really say that it's clear, but from culture to culture, like you can probably see these needs to identify forces. And so it doesn't matter if the devil changes shape or form. I mean, isn't that what the devil is anyway?
Yeah.
2
Like-
weeks ago was my birthday party right in this very house.
Mm-hmm.
And I was having a discussion with somebody, and he said, you know, the devil does not try to turn people evil. The job of the devil is to punish
The
people
evil.
that are evil already. And I said, what's your evidence of that? And you know what he said? The TV series Lucifer. That's his evidence.
That is actually where all people go to find their answers about.
Look, we're sitting in
what-
your home, in your studio, and we are creating information, and we're taking our ideas and experiences, and we're putting in this framework with these microphones. So we're contributing to some take on living and life and whatever. So a TV show, I mean, you're making a TV show right now.
I am. It's going to
And-
go on
and-
YouTube.
Yeah, and it will maybe inform whoever, whenever they watch it or don't watch it. I mean, I think that even if people don't watch it, the fact that you're making this does something, or that we're in this environment forces a conversation. Not forces, it informs a conversation or it shapes one. So why not? Why not a TV show? Why is a TV show not a legitimate place to hear a good idea or something that's important or meaningful? I mean,
That one is produced by Joe Bruckheimer, so.
no, but I'm just saying again. It's back to culture, which has been something we've been talking about. Is that these are where we get our ideas. This is where we like make sense of our lives, and so, you know, we'd hope it's maybe a well-produced, well-acted TV show that's more legitimate to, you know, reference in life. But that's why we watch TV and we watch movies, is that occasionally there are good ideas there, or bad ones.
It kind of ties into something you once said about stories being important to our lives.
What did I say?
During the fireplace, we were talking, and then you brought up stories. You said stories are immensely important.
Oh, well, fiction, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it is.
Fictions has a lot of truth.
Well, yeah, I just think fiction's important because otherwise you're very limited in terms of what your everyday experience is. It's through fiction and through other people's stories that we find out about places we will never be able to go and people who lived at other times. And I don't know, I think
It's our only technology for experiencing the subjectivity of the
of another person. Yeah,
Wow,
other people's
that's a good
subjectivity,
line.
getting
That is a
outside
good
of
one.
your own limited perspective.
Should we end it now, or do you want to go another 30 minutes?
I think I'm feeling like we did a great job. This
Yeah, we could go Jungian.
Can we talk 30
could
minutes
talk
about
arch-
how we're not going to go 30 minutes?
You probably could.
You
I don't know if the rest of
could.
us can pull it off.
This
But-
has
Push these
been
buttons,
the
push these
Tim
buttons,
Noble
push these
Show.
We could devolve into conversation of archetype. We could talk about Jung.
We are all Tim
I think we should
Noble.
cut
The
it.
music won't work this time.
This show is dedicated to Tim Noble.
Tim,
Tim.
if you're out there listening, we salute you.
Tim.
Tim,
those houses.
Tim, build a